Military leaders in Guinea have warned foreign mining companies that steep penalties will follow if they do not share profits equally and present plans to build local refineries by May. The warning came in a Facebook post by the presidency. Guinea is the second biggest producer of bauxite in the world, a mineral used in the manufacturing of aluminum. Guinea wants to be a player in turning the raw material into alumina instead of just exporting bauxite. The presidency called this new policy a win-win for Guinea and the foreign companies involved. In Nigeria, citizens of Africa's most populous country were once again left in the dark on Friday. This happened following the collapse of Nigeria's national grid. For several hours, millions of Nigerians were left without electricity. 3 weeks ago, President Muhammadu Buhari apologized for another national power outage. Unlike last time, an aide to the president now blames the vandalism of transmission tower for the blackout. Nigerian media report that this latest national grid collapse is the fifth time it has happened this year alone. Nigeria, a country of about 200 million people, has an installed generating capacity of 12,500 megawatts a day. On a good day, the country generates only 4,000 megawatts. Meanwhile, South Africa, a country of about 61 million people, generates 58,000 megawatts of electricity a day. Egypt, a country of about 102 million people, generates 184,000 megawatts of electricity a day. And Ghana, a country of about 31 million people, generates 4,710 megawatts of electricity. It is 5:30 p.m. in Egypt.
It is 3:30 p.m. in Ghana.
It is 5:30 p.m. in South Africa.
It's 4:30 p.m. in Lagos, Nigeria.
It is 11:30 a.m. in New York City.
And it's 8:30 a.m. in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Wherever in the world you are, welcome to another edition of 90 Minutes Africa. I am Chido Onuma. On our show today, we will look at the recently concluded Africa's qualifying matches for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar and Africans' chances at the competition. To help us understand what is going on are three of Africa's finest sports journalists, Oluwashina Okeleji from Nigeria, Saddick Adams from Ghana, and Fahmy from Egypt. Oluwashina Okeleji is a Nigerian sports journalist who works for BBC Sports. He reports for the BBC World Service Radio and TV and writes regularly for the BBC African football website about the continent's football and star around the world. Saddick Adams, also known as Sports Obama, is a Ghanaian journalist and winner of the Ghana Journalists Association Award in 2018 for his work in sports journalism. And Fahmy is an Egyptian sports writer, producer, covering major events including World Cup and the Olympics. Gentlemen, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Chido.
Thanks for having me, Chido.
All right.
It's great to have you. Saddick was here earlier, but I think he drops that.
Okay, whenever Saddick joins us, we will introduce him. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. We welcome you on this special episode of the show. I would like you to begin by Oluwashina, maybe give us an overview of the African countries that are representing Africa, that will be representing Africa at the World Cup.
Well, thanks for having me, Rudolph and Chido, once again. I think we have 5 countries representing Africa. Unfortunately, Amir will be watching in front of his telly because Senegal, Africa's top-ranked side, beat Egypt to secure a ticket. And of course, Saddick Adams will come here and talk tough about how Ghana stopped Nigeria from going to the World Cup as well. So Ghana Senegal, and of course Cameroon. After everything that happened, Rigobert Song continued to write history, so he qualified Cameroon for the World Cup at the expense of another North African side, Algeria. And of course, we have two other countries from North Africa as well. Morocco, who stopped DR Congo to book a place at the World Cup, and then as well as the last team, Tunisia, who rode their luck after winning in Bamako. They drew at home 0-0 to qualify for the World Cup at the expense of another Eagles, that is the Eagles of Mali. So we have 5 interesting countries going to the World Cup.
Chido.
Yeah, so Amy, and this question goes to the two of you, but let's start with Amy first. How would you, considering what your colleague and friend Oluwashina just said? Okay, we have Saddick on. Saddick, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Hello, Saddick, can you hear us? Hello, Saddick.
Yeah, hello.
Saddick.
Can you hear us, Saddick?
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so the question is, now that we know the countries that have qualified, starting with Emil, what would you say in terms of officiating? How would you rate the preparation and the officiating of the qualifiers across the continent?
Well, thank you, Chido, and thank you, Robo, for having me. First of all, I'm very glad to be with you all and with my friend Oluwashina and Saddick as well. Well, I think there wasn't a major incident that really affected the outcome of any of the qualifiers. I know that Algerians are not happy by the way that Mr. Bakary Gassama officiated the second leg of their qualifier against Cameroon in Bleda. But at the end of the day, there was nothing that really disrupted the game or affected the outcome, the final result of the game. I mean, Cameroon qualified deservedly. Same thing with Egypt, my country, because some people were not happy with the refereeing, and not only with the refereeing, but the way the game was managed. I mean, the reports that were written by match officials that concerning some hooliganism that happened from Senegalese fans, the laser, some objects were thrown even on the pitch, and one object hit keeper Mohamed El-Shenawi. But at the end of the day, I think all of this are just related to some organizational issues. It didn't really affect the outcome of the game. And both countries, Senegal and Cameroon, have qualified deservedly. I say this while I'm Egyptian. And at the same time, I believe even in other games, there wasn't a big issue. Maybe in the game between Tunisia and Mali, there was some talk about luck, but not officiating. As we all say, maybe that Tunisia were the luckiest team among the 5 qualifiers.
Okay, we'll come back to that question of officiating and maybe what has happened, the fallout. But let's get Shina's take on the whole concept of or issue of officiating as well. What's your take, Shina?
Well, I think just to take on from where Amel stopped, I think generally we didn't really have any major issue concerning the qualifier. Sorry, there's a dog inside the compound that is unhappy with something. I don't know. So please bear with me. So I don't think there was anything wrong with the officiating. I think Nigerians will always say, look, Victor Osimhen scored the goal against Ghana. That was, I mean, correctly ruled out for offside. Even we watching from the pitch could tell that, look, there was something wrong with the goal. He shouldn't have stood in the first instance. He didn't even need to go to the VAR because it was a clear offside. And then, of course, the issue of laser that the Egyptians were complaining about. I think a lot of people in Africa didn't feel sorry for Egypt in any way because North Africans are considered to be the people who actually invented the laser. And once they were getting away with it in football matches, I think sub-Saharan African countries picked it and they figured, if you have to punish us now, then you have to go back and punish Algeria, punish Egypt, punish Morocco, because it actually got to that level. And unfortunately, that happened. But generally, I think overall in all 5 qualifiers, I think it was okay.
Okay, so the question then is, we've gotten your take on this, but some of the countries who lost out, like Egypt and Algeria, have filed complaints to FIFA. First, you, Shina, then back to Amir. What's your take on the complaints? The Egyptians talked about attack of racism on their star player, the destruction of their boss. The Algerians talked about poor officiating, and interestingly, the man who officiated that match is regarded as one of the top 3 referees in Africa. He's also been picked to be one of Africa's 8 representatives in the World Cup. So, is there a precedent here? Is there anything FIFA can do in terms of the complaints
I
by?
really don't see that. I don't really see anything happening. I think the major incidents that a lot of people are referring to, in cases where there's a suspicion of match fixing, FIFA tends to interfere in such games. Remember, Amir, the game involving Senegal and was it Senegal and South Africa or Senegal and Ghana at some point? There was the concern about officiating, and the game was absolute South Africa, yeah, and the game was replayed at some point because there was officiating. But in this case, I don't think there was any major incident that led to a team losing out on a ticket to the World Cup. Had Egypt won convincingly in Cairo, they would have struggled. They would have, earned a result in Dakar. Had Nigeria won in Kumasi, they could easily not be talking about a Victor Osimhen ruled out goal. Had Algeria convincingly played like invincible that they were in Bleeder and beat the indomitable Lions of Cameroon, we won't be talking here. So it's not a precedent where you get FIFA to get to replay. Remember, the draw has been drawn already. They've drawn the World Cup draw. The countries know where they are going to be playing. FIFA would not want such scandal to actually, blight their biggest competition in the world. And of course, some of these countries complaining now. Like I said, if you are taking care of business on the pitch, everything that happened with Mo Salah happened at the end of the game. Am I correct? The instances where they felt like the players didn't feel safe at some point, all of this happened at the end of the match. The incidents involving Nigeria as well with fans, Irish fans, ugly scenes in Abuja happened at the end of the game. Also, the one involving Algeria, even the Algerian fans were more upset about the officiating. But of course, they didn't win in Bleeder. No one could have thought that indomitable Lions of Cameroon were going to go to Bleeder and get a result. We all thought Cameroon were dead and buried after the first leg, but they went there and they achieved that huge result. So I think we should be careful how we as Africans want to continue to paint our own officiating. Yes, if referees are found wanting, I suspect that they will be punished severely. They will probably be removed from competitions. They will also be suspended, and there could also be incidents where they are even, FIFA rarely do that, but there are instances where those referees will be suspended as well. So I don't think there's any major issues to worry about in terms of Africa and the officiating during the playoffs.
Okay, your thoughts, Emmy, before we get to Rudolph.
Well, I mostly agree with what Oluwashina was saying, but to be honest, there were 2 incidents that happened during the game between Egypt and Senegal. There were some water bottles that were thrown to keeper Mohamed El-Shenawi, one during the first half, and then there was the laser lights. It happened through all the year. Don't laugh. That's the reality. I know we invented it, but anyway, it happened all throughout the penalty shootout. But at the end of the day, I don't believe it really affected the concentration of the players. Otherwise, they could have stopped the game, called the referee. They say we cannot take a penalty while things go like that. But this didn't happen. And even Mohamed El-Shenawi himself was able to stop a penalty when the laser was made directly on his eyes. So I don't believe it really affected the outcome of the game. But yes, there are some instances that happened midway through the game, but at the end of the day, I don't believe it really affected the result.
Okay. Saddick, welcome. Can you hear us now? Saddick, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Very good. Welcome to the show. So we've gotten a viewpoint from your colleague. We wanted to know your take on. Oh, Saddick is gone. Okay, we'll get him back.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's back.
Okay. Saddick, you're back. So we wanted to get your take on the process. All right.
Yeah, the line keeps breaking and I can't clearly hear you.
Oh, okay.
My sound was
Okay, we can hear you now. We can hear you now. But give us an overview, your assessment of the process that had led to these 5 countries now representing Africa, that will represent Africa at the World Cup.
Yeah, thank you very much, and regards to Shina and Amir, and to you, Doctor, and Chido. But it looks like African teams go through a very rigorous process of getting to the World Cup. That's my opinion. After playing in the qualifiers, in the groups, from the preliminary stages to the groups, then finally to the playoffs. I think that we have a very tough process because all the 10 teams that got to the playoffs, to me, have the quality to be at the World Cup. If Panama and other countries, Ecuador, can get to the World Cup, I think that Egypt and other countries, Morocco, Tunisia, and all these nations, Mali, have the kind of players to compete at the highest level. So, but it was quite fantastic. The 2 games, ensuing games in the playoffs, 5 were very, very difficult to pick who was going to qualify, even for Morocco. And Morocco's game against DRC, the match between Mali and Tunisia, Egypt, Senegal in particular, and Algeria versus Cameroon. These were very tough games, and to me, there were nothing to pick out from once they draw. DR Congo. These were tough games, and the process was quite hectic, even for FIFA and CAF. You cannot clearly pick who was going to qualify. And at the end of the day, it showed. Everybody picked Nigeria, or people picked Nigeria ahead of Ghana. Others that tipped, Algeria ahead of Cameroon, even after the first leg. But the whole process was, to me, very hectic. A lot of display of African football, the culture, the tradition, the fans. It was enveloped in exciting, events and tough football games. That's what I can say.
Thank you very much, Rudolph. Sorry, I'll get back to you. Of all the 3 guests we have today, you are the only person from a country that qualified. Ghana qualified at the expense of Nigeria, a traditional, what's it called, the nemesis or enemy. What's the feeling in Ghana about their qualification, but particularly at their qualification at the expense of Nigeria?
Well, it's a great feeling here. Very, very great feeling. The Black Stars had gone down after the AFCON exits, the most disastrous campaign in our history at the African Cup of Nations, exiting the tournament without a win. That's never happened in the history of Ghana football. And so the atmosphere around the team was very toxic. Nobody wanted to talk about the Black Stars. Selection into the technical coaches, even the Ghana Football Association came under a barrage of attacks. People really didn't want to see or hear anything Black Stars. And even in Ghana, there were a lot of fans who were rooting for Nigeria to qualify because they thought that Ghana getting to the World Cup was a waste of time. The team was not really in shape to qualify. So actually, once they played that goalless draw in Kumasi, there was some sense of, feeling that the team has started, because we all thought that Nigeria would have beaten Ghana in Kumasi. That's a fact. A lot of people tipped Nigeria, Ghanaians tipped Nigeria to beat the Black Stars in Kumasi, because this was a team under construction. The coaches had never met before until this game. Some of the players had never even set foot in Kumasi until this game. First game playing in Kumasi, playing against Nigeria rivals at this point. So to me, once the team drew against Nigeria in Kumasi, then there was some sense of, confidence, even from the fans, even from the players. Everybody started thinking that, oh, the Black Stars team will get good. Let's support them. Let's get to Nigeria and play their game and see what will happen. So there wasn't too much of expectation from the team. And I think that was an advantage because it lessened the pressure on the team and they went to Abuja to qualify. Back home, the feeling was great. Even up till now, some of the players have become overnight heroes, like Dennis Odoi, who had never played for Ghana before at the age of 10.
All right, Saddick, he's in and out. But let me come back to you, Oluwashina. Looking at the countries that qualified, Senegal population is about 16 million, Ghana 31 million, Morocco is 40 million, Cameroon is 56, Tunisia is 12. So in the total population of these countries that are going to represent Africa is about 125 million. But Africa has 1.216 billion people. How will this impact Africans' participation, watching the game? Egypt is not there, Nigeria is not there, the big countries are not there. You see, even the people watching us now, most of those people that would have been interested in watching, they think, these small countries. What is your take? You've seen all these things,
I think when it comes to qualifying, there are countries who don't get along. Egyptians and Algerians, I don't know if they actually get along. There are also Nigeria and Ghana, they have their own banter and their own rivalry as well. There are countries who don't get along. But when the World Cup proper kicks off, all of these things will be put to the back seat and everybody would go. If it was a matter of size, Nigeria would march over Ghana and go to the World Cup. But it's not a matter of size. You are mentioning figures, millions and millions. Ghanaians have a young population as well as a small population, but they are going to the World Cup. But when it comes to drumming support for African countries, I think most of these African countries will get behind the other African representatives because we only have 5 African nations playing at the World Cup. Some have been calling for 9, some have been calling for 10. But with the 5 that are there, expect that in the Northern Hemisphere, they might not see eye to eye, they might not get along, but there will always be a support for the likes of Morocco, Tunisia. They will definitely get support. And down here, come on, Nigeria and Ghana. Nigeria have lost the ticket. They will definitely support. Support in the real sense of it is that Ghana will do well and represent Africa very well, but they wouldn't want them to win the World Cup for sure. But in terms of followership, I think we're going to get a huge following. The FIFA World Cup is the biggest football competition in the world. The eyeballs that the competition gets, and in Africa here, most people in remote villages will be tuning to their box TV and watching in front of generator sets. Some people in the remotest places in DR Congo, in other far-flung places in Uganda, and of course in places like Algeria, they will be watching the World Cup. So don't worry about the population of the nations going to the World Cup. Care about the support that they will get in Africa because a lot of people will be watching on the continent.
All right. So let's get back to Amir. Just following up on what the question Rudolph asked in terms of Africa's participation and interest. From the point, let's leave the fans. Now I'm talking about the teams. How would you rate our preparation? How ready do you think the different teams are? So we'll go around the house, but let's start with Emil first. How ready do you think the 5 nations that are representing Africa are for? How prepared are they for this World Cup?
Well, actually, all of the 5 teams have the chance to have good preparation, especially after CAF decided to postpone 2 match days from the next AFCON qualifiers from June to March. So in the international FIFA window of June, there is a possibility for each of the 5 nations that have qualified to play 2 good friendlies with big sides ahead of the World Cup. But at the same time, we have also to be aware because, for example, if you are talking about Ghana, and may Saddick correct me if I'm wrong, there are calls now to call so many players that were not with the team during the qualifiers, like Hudson Odoi, like others. So these players may now be portrayed or seen as glory hunters. They are only interested to come and represent the national team when they are qualified already to the World Cup. Morocco, they have a good team. They have excellent facilities. They have a good federation planning everything for the national team. But at the same time, there is a big possibility that they will change the coach. I think Vahid Halilovic will not be the coach that is taking them to the World Cup, because there is a big disagreement between him and most of the European-based stars, most notably Hakim Ziyech of Chelsea and Nasir Mozraoui of Ajax. So I don't see it happening to keep the same unit that qualified going into the final tournament. So there may be a technical change that may disrupt the team as well. Tunisia already, the coach, Jalal Qadri, is most likely to be staying, but he doesn't have the strong backing from the fans. As for Cameroon, I think the same thing that has been said about Ghana, that they have been trying to persuade Joel Matip to come out from international retirement just to play in the World Cup, and he has declined the invitation to play for the Indomitable Lions on several occasions so far since his international retirement in 2015, I think. So there are some elements that may disrupt the preparation, but it's within the African teams themselves, and it's not related to the friendlies that they can play as a preparation for the tournament. But maybe Senegal is the only team that's going to Qatar with a clear head. Aliou Cissé has been there for 7 years. They are African champions. They qualified. They have a mega star in every line: Edouard Mendy in goal, Koulibaly in center back, Gana Gueye in central midfield, Mane and Ismaila Sarr up front. So they have the magical formula to go as far as their past golden generation went in 2002. And I just wanted to highlight this 2002 Senegalese generation, because like Oluwashina was saying, at the time they qualified in a group that contained Egypt. But once they were in the tournament in Korea and Japan, everybody in Egypt, and we were only 80 million by the time, not 100 like now, but all the 80 millions were cheering for Senegal, supporting them, and they wanted them to go as far as possible. So I think Senegal is in the best position in terms of preparation, in terms of stability, in terms of structure. I believe they are the team that has to be best prepared for the tournament.
Okay, thanks. We'll come back to specific teams and the World Cup draws, but let's hear from Shino what his take is on the preparation of the team, the 5 teams.
Well, I think Amri made some valid points here. Africa tends to shoot themselves in the foot when they go to the World Cup. The instability in terms of what's going to happen always have its own effect on the African teams. And remember, Africa always go to the World Cup with some countries fighting over bonuses. There's always bonus row. We know that with Ghana. We know that with Nigeria. Not African countries don't always come with these baggages. They always have everything sorted. Like you said, in Morocco, in Tunisia, it might be a coaching situation. In Morocco, they're also thinking of probably changing Vahid, which is quite shocking. But of course, you understand why. Their big star, Hakim Ziyech, and of course, the guy, Nozel, that you mentioned from Ajax, are not really happy with the coach. So most of these problems are some of the things that will go. It's not necessarily about their preparations. We've seen countries lose all their preparatory matches going to the World Cup, and then they go to the World Cup and always gel and perform. We've also seen teams, winning some of their matches and then getting to the World Cup and messing up. So the only country with coming from where Ahmed is coming from, with a clear head on how they go and approach the World Cup, is Senegal, because they've had stability in terms of coaching. They've also had an FA president who knows what it takes to actually get behind the manager when he needs to, and of course back the team. So preparation will not be an issue. Every African country would not be short of interest in terms of friendlies. Even Nigeria wouldn't qualify. Egypt wouldn't qualify. We'll be approached by many countries to come and play friendlies just to prepare them for their African opposition. They will think they'll provide them with enough challenge. We expect Senegal to be a team that everybody will be watching. So people want to see a team that plays probably similar football with Senegal. They want to play them in friendly games. So I think preparation will not be an issue. It is the things that happen off the pitch and around the team that would have a huge impact in how these 5 African countries can participate in Qatar.
Okay, Rudolph, the question on foreign versus local coaches, now that we're talking about preparation.
Yeah, let me ask you a few. I noticed that African Cup of Nations, 15 of the 24 teams that participated had local coaches. And 4 of these 5 teams that are going to the World Cup, they have local coaches. Does that mean that we've passed that period when African football is more or less depends on foreign coaches, or is this just an aberration? And I'll start with you, Oluwashina, because I know that in Nigeria, after we lost, there is the new discussion about getting another foreign coach. Why is that?
Well, I think the fact that a local coach did not qualify Nigeria for the World Cup has now given the Nigerian Football Federation an opportunity to go back to what they rejected. Remember, Genetro was sacked a few months to the African Cup of Nations. They put Austin Guavon in charge, and he has disappointed. I think there's the lack of trust in the local coaches. That's why some of these African federation tends to go foreign, and some of them who have stuck with their local coaches are now seeing the results. Jamel Belmadi is a prime example in Algeria, even though they didn't qualify for the World Cup. He led them to African Cup of Nations success in 2019. They were close to going to the World Cup. They lost to Cameroon, who also paraded Rigobert Song in their own thing as well. So I think the stories are gradually changing, and Aliou Cisse has made a very huge case for local coaches. Support me, back me, even when the media wants my head. Back me even when the fans want me sacked. And I think that's why he stayed on the job for 7 years. And for 7 years, been able to build a very strong team. When you look across Africa, Egypt, they've, of course, got Mo Salah. Algeria, they've got Riyad Mahrez and what have you. But if you don't back your coach and harm him confidently that he can do the job, it will be very difficult. This is not the end of foreign managers. Don't be surprised that going into the World Cup, some of these African countries might make some calls that will shock you. Like Tunisia, we are talking about. They already have a local coach who took them to the AFCON. We have another, the same local coach who's qualified them for the World Cup. But still, some people are not happy with his management. And of course, that is something that will probably happen before the World Cup. They might change him. Vahid is a foreigner, he's Bosnian, and some people are not happy with him. So it might get to a position where he might not even take the team to the World Cup. So changes might happen before then. The only country that we are sure of, without any major disaster happening, will be Senegal taking the team to the World Cup. Rigobert Song might complete his story at the World Cup by playing and, of course, coaching at the World Cup. So these are interesting times, and I think we have. I will tell you confidently that we have not seen the end of foreign managers coming to Africa, because some African Football Federation officials are just obsessed with having a foreign manager in charge of their national side.
And what would you say is the session? Is it has to do with financial or the politics of local football? We'll come to Amy on the same question. But what, Shina, what would you say is the reason for this obsession? Is it part of the colonial hangover, or there is the issue of money and so on?
Well, the colonial issue has an history, because everything foreign looks like is the perfect one for Africa. And there is always a difficult situation where you've had your big African stars who have gone outside of Africa to play in Europe. If they are good enough to play and they are qualified to manage, why not try them out? So there's still that lack of trust in your local manager. Like I said, Nigeria just tried one now, and nobody wants to hear anything about local coaches again after what has happened. Failure to qualify for the World Cup. Ghana will now be thinking, come on, Otto Addo hasn't even managed a senior national side. He's qualified them for the World Cup against a stronger and more matured local coach in Nigeria. So there might be the trust in him now. I just think it's a general thing about some of these African FA believing that whatever is foreign is better. And that's why, I'm sorry to translate, that's why some people want to bleach their skin to look white, because they don't feel self-confidence in their own ability or have faith in what their own color is all about. There is the issue of that, and there's the concept of, a lot of people having, they don't have, what's it called now? When you lack self-awareness, when you also have self-worth in your own ability to actually train. I believe that if there's a coach in Africa good enough for the job with the right qualifications, some of the people that they bring to Africa, some of them don't even have the right qualifications to come and coach here. But the fact that he's white or the fact that he's foreign give them an opportunity to come and play. But when Africans go to Europe to play, it's a different ball game because they believe in their talent, they believe in what they can deliver. So I think it's just from colonial issue to the point of Africans not trusting their own, and some of their own giving opportunities to failing to deliver. So you can see that everything is interwoven. If they give you a chance as a local manager and you don't deliver, then you'll be fired. Stephen Keshi managed Nigeria for the World Cup and won the AFCON. Shaibu Amadu, both of them, they are late now, but they are examples of local coaches that you can trust who can actually bring results. And in Egypt, the most successful manager in Egyptian football, Hassan Sheatta, is Egyptian. And Egypt too, they've tried the Portuguese, they've tried different, they've just been trying, and nothing is happening. So it tells you that we just need to find the right balance where you have faith in your own local coach, back them when they are good enough, and we might be seeing positive results coming in that direction.
Yeah, so Eme, what's your take?
Well, I'm more than 100% agreeing on terms of what Oluwashina was saying, but it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's not a mathematical equation. I mean, it's not if you hire a foreign coach, you will get results. It's not if you hire a local coach, you will get results. As Oluwashina was saying, I'm speaking about the experience that we had in Egypt. Yes, we qualified to the World Cup 1990 in Italy with an Egyptian coach, the late Mahmoud El-Gohari, and the same guy guided us to the AFCON crown in 1998. Hassan Shahad as well, 3 AFCON titles. So out of the 7 African titles that Egypt has won, only 2 were won under foreign coaches, and 5 were won under local coaches. And I don't want to use the term local, but it's better to use the term national. Same thing now, but at the other hand, if you look at other countries, for example, the renaissance of Senegalese football was led by Bruno Metsu, a Frenchman who was really attached to the continent. Other guys who came from Europe and had huge success in Africa were like Hervé Renard, for example. He won 2 AFCONs with Zambia and Cote d'Ivoire and qualified Morocco to the World Cup. But at the end of the day, I can totally say there is some preference between most of the football association, national football associations in Africa, to hire foreign coaches, because this provides them this spares the headache that why did you choose that coach coming from a background that, for example, in Egypt, if we say you picked up a coach that has a background from Al Ahly. No, it's from Zamalek, the other major club. So no, you are picking players from this club. No, you are preferring players from this club. You already had an idea about a certain player. So when you get a coach from Europe, he has no idea about the environment. So the fans tend to believe that he's dealing with the players in a neutral way. He's not favoring any of the players. So this is one factor that is being put in the mind, especially in Egypt right now, because we had Hector Cooper and Javier Aguirre and now Carlos Queiroz, and his contract is now terminated. And now we are thinking about another foreign coach once more. So this is the idea that is being planted in the heads of the board members or board directors of any national association, I believe. But at the end of the day, yes, think about Shahata, think about Kishi, think about Amodu. I remember even Kishi, when he qualified Togo to the World Cup in 2006, he was just sacked before the tournament, and he got German coach Otto Pfister. I don't know why, and I really felt sorry at the time for him because of the poor showing at the AFCON in 2006. But come on, he qualified Togo for the World Cup debut, and still that wasn't enough. So I believe our national coaches in Africa, they have to go the long way. Even look at Aliou Cissé now with Senegal. He has done everything, 2 consecutive World Cup qualifications, 1 AFCON crown, and still people are are saying, no, actually the head coach is the main weakness point in Senegal. I believe if Aliou Cisse had a blonde hair, he would have been treated totally different. Because yes, there is some colonialism complex, let me say. People, they still appreciate more guys coming from Europe selling them ideas, even though the national alternative might be not only as good as the European one, but maybe even far better.
Now, I like what Ami said about in Egypt, it's about the teams that the coach might pick. But Oluwashina, let me ask you about in Nigeria, because some people say one of the reasons we want foreign coaches is that that they can handle the issue of tribal politics in sports better than a Nigerian coach. How do you say that? You know, is it that to isolate the conference or the organizers of this conference by getting somebody who is foreign, so they won't be the ones held accountable for picking particular players? What is your take on that?
I think culturally, what you hear the most in Nigeria is the fact that the best Nigerian players are in Europe. So eventually, whether you pick a local manager, you pick a foreign manager, the truth here is most of the players will be selected from Europe. The problem they are having back home in Nigeria is the fact that there are those who believe that some of these players who are coming from Europe are not necessarily strong enough to play in African football. Like they struggle when it comes to playing qualifiers and all that. So hence the call for more local players to be added to the team. Every call up, there is the debate from some section of the fans who are saying, oh, come on, you're not picking players from the local scene. But the truth is, what local football are we talking about? The local football in the last 3 years, from organizing to poor officiating to games not being on telly, even sign contract that you don't automatically say you bring a foreign manager and a coach. So when you bring a foreign manager, the man is telling you, I'm sorry, your best players are in Europe, not in Nigeria. He's facing battles with the fans and the media who are criticizing him for not picking players from the local scene. The last man who is in charge of Nigeria, Justin Eguavoen, was blamed for not picking players from the local scene by a section of the fans. After they lost to Ghana in the World Cup qualifying, they are saying, oh, some of the players brought from Europe, the finest from the Premier League, La Liga, Italian Serie A, and also not good enough. So it's not a matter of of course, there's also the tribal one. Oh, they are picking too many Igbo boys. They are not picking Hausa players. What are the Hausa boys doing? They are not good enough. You know, there's also that thing with the local coach because he faces that. But with the foreign manager, he doesn't even have a clue who is Yoruba, who is Hausa, who is Igbo. He just comes straight and pick who he's about to pick. I just think the general problem in Nigeria is the fact that there is no structure. There's no structure in place. Some of the best success that have come from Nigeria have come from managers who have been given opportunities to stay on the job for a long time, to actually design their own system of ways and playing the style of playing football. In Nigeria, everything we do is qualifying is here. Let's rush. Let's go. Get this player. Get this player. Yeah, go. Play. Boom. They lost. Oh, sack the manager. Sack the this. And everything without a plan. Look at Germany. They didn't qualify for the World Cup. I remember they had a plan in place. It was a 10-year plan. They've won the World Cup. They've really, promoted players and have a structure. They have, regional settings where they are playing football. So in Nigeria, whether you bring Jose Mourinho to come and coach in Nigeria, it will struggle because Jose Mourinho will be frustrated out. If you bring Pep Guardiola with his style and everything, Klopp, they will struggle in Nigeria because basically there are so many problems, fundamental issues in terms of lack of structure, in terms of the federation not knowing what direction they are headed, in terms of the playing style and what they want to do. There are those who don't want the local players. There are those who want the local players. There are those. So the problems are just too much for you to solve. And living momentarily on success like this, and then you want a player. So the problem is local or foreign. It's a matter of structure, and we'll continue to have this debate till we all leave this earth and continue to, be memories.
Thank you. Sorry, I was just saying we'll come back to the question of structure and the nature of the local federation, but I don't know what Emmy's take on that particular subject matter is before we come back to the nature of the local organizing federation. Emmy, what do you think?
Well, I can't agree more with Oluwashina. Yeah, he's 100% right. Actually, it doesn't matter because the local environment really controls the outcome. Yes, as he said, if you get Jose Mourinho, you won't have magical outcomes. So for me personally, I'm a big advocate of national coaches, but still I cannot ignore that foreign coaches bring success as well, or are capable of that. At the end of the day, it's according to each federation that has to measure the situation tightly and reasonably without just wanting to make the headlines with hiring a world-class coach or just getting a big name. You know what you have. You look to the style that you want your national team to play in, because most of the time, for example, when Egypt hired Hector Cooper in 2015, I remember at the time when he started playing the national team, like 3, 4, 5 games, people said, "Oh, look, he's very defensive." People were surprised because the EFA hired him not knowing his coaching style, not knowing anything. And that style didn't really fit with the culture of Egyptian football. So even when we qualified to the World Cup, people were still not satisfied by the performance. So there is no clear vision of what the federations really need. Do you have a concrete project? Do you have a vision of what of how the team should be playing in 2 or 3 years? The answer is no. So they just get big names, whether domestically or internationally. This is a big issue that really, I really don't understand why, even though there are now some planning departments in the and technical directors in the national associations, but still, as you see, nobody plans or nobody has a vision of what really the national team has to be playing.
All right, we are going to take a little break. When we come back, we are going to talk about corruption in African football. We're also going to get our audience members to join us, and maybe they have questions for two of you. Okay, so let's take a little break, and then we'll be right back.
1-1 draw. We are not going to the World Cup. Over 2 legs, the only goal we scored against this very young Ghana team with a new coach was a penalty that was given to us by VAR. Not be like say, but a disappointing one.
Yeah, not only Nigerians today are crying. All the Africans that love Nigerians are crying. And not just Africans, FIFA themselves are crying because Nigeria is one of the countries that anytime they're in World Cup, that means the vibrant and the joy is there. But now we are having a very big problem in our own house. NFF leaders are the cause of our problems because none of them understand football. No any of the NFF members knows what they call football. The reason why I says this, they are just there by selection, not by merit. The people that play football in this country are just going to the governors and receiving award as ambassador. Kalun Wankwo and Okocha and all of them are busy doing advice for company.
And Samuel Eto'o is saving Cameroonian football. They are mates.
They are the one who's supposed to be in the office of NFF and control the football and put the football in a good place. Like person like me, I am Kingsley Okafor. For over 20 years, I've been using my money. I'm selling a rice and beans, sponsoring up grassroots footballers. But I'm not interested to be in glass house. There is no state. People that will watch this, that will see my face, there is no state in Nigeria have not sponsored tournaments. And I do it free of charge.
So, welcome back, everybody. It's always interesting to me that people who know football, they are never in the field playing or coaching. You guys cover this thing every time. How do you feel about the fans? Really? Let me start with you, Amy. How do you feel about the fans and how they seem to be so passionate about football?
Yeah, they are so passionate, and they are the ones who really suffer. I mean, they don't get paid for this at the end of the day. Some get some heart problems, some get diabetes. They are the one who really suffer, and they are not getting paid. It's just and even in our continent, with all the conflicts and all the instability that we are having from Cairo to Cape Town. So football is really the place where fans look to have more oxygen, more to express themselves. And at the end of the day, they don't get the results they want. They feel like they are always disappointed. If not by the results, so by the performance. If not by the performance, so by the administration, the way the game is run. So they are really the ones who suffer. So I think they have to have a big say, and their opinions have to be more respected. I'm not calling for a Greek democracy, of football, but I'm just let them be heard, because for example, when you hire a national coach that nobody really wants him, or the majority they don't welcome, and you insist on that and you keep going, so why make people suffer when they watch their national team? I mean, at the end of the day, of course, you cannot please everybody, but you can reach a point of agreement. That's what I say.
Oluwashina, the glass house. I don't actually know anything about the glass house, but who gets into the glass house and how are they picked? Do they give opportunity to all these fans to have a say in who is in the glass house?
Well, like you call it, it's a glass house. So if you let the fans come, you might turn into ashes, because some of them and the way they come. Look, like Fahmy said, completely, the fans don't get paid for supporting. The fans don't get celebrated for supporting. The fans only get shown when they are in pain, when they are in anger and anguish, like we've seen in that short clip there. I think the kind of people that gets to the glass house, you must be very rich, you must be highly connected. And every year during elections for the Nigerian Football Federation settings, we tend to see a change in the status. The status are so difficult that a man like Chido, who might want to run FA affairs, might never get a chance, because by the time they read out everything that he needs to have, he will just be kicked out, and you will see that you are not even qualified enough to come and contest. And of course, I don't know how it is in Egypt, but it's the same thing. You need to be part of a system in terms of football. So when you look at the current NFF president, he used to be the state FA chairman in Delta State. He was also so you have to be part of football for a period of time for you to be eligible to qualify to be president of the federation. In terms of other posts and other this thing, you also need to be part of your grassroots. You also need to be part of something. Like the young man, he's not a young man anyway. The man talking there, who's always been sponsoring grassroots football. These are the people who you need in terms of when you need to pick your scouting for your under 17. These are the kind of competition that is sponsoring. Those are the kind of people that you need, because genuinely they care about football. Some of these people that you hear talking now, they sponsored young players, the likes of, when you ask some of these players who end up in Europe, there must be someone who was actually buying boots, someone who was sponsoring competition in their local environment. So these people are locked out. The fans are not heard. When they want to pick coaches, they just pick coaches. They don't care. They'll be like, oh, the fans will shout and they'll keep quiet. So we don't have a situation whereby fans are given an opportunity. In Germany, where fans are owning clubs. In Nigeria, we don't have such opportunity in Nigeria. I don't know about. I mean, I've been to Al Ahly and I've seen the structure and how fans' ownership are also part of some of the things in North Africa. So when fans are the ones that actually own their club, they have a major say in how their clubs are run. In Nigeria, they will tell you when they want to get into office, they are sponsored by their state and money and all that. But remember, football is still under government. FIFA have problems with government interfering, but they don't have a problem with government intervening with financial support. They only have a problem with when government wants to interfere in who becomes the FA president. So it's crazy and difficult for the fans to actually get an opportunity to be heard. The only thing and the only time you can hear them is when results are not going their ways, or when they need things to go and change in terms of football structure and what have you. That's why you saw the ugly scenes in Abuja, where fans just felt like, you know what, we are tired, and they just. I mean, I don't support the vandalism and what they've done, but that's to show you that the only language the fans know is to take law into their own hands and protest in the only way they understand, which is violence. And it's unfortunate this actually blighted that important qualifier in Abuja.
So let's look specifically at the issue of corruption. One of the fallouts of the match in Abuja against Ghana was the call for the NFF, the Nigerian Football Federation, to be dissolved. And there have been many cases of issues of around corruption, and hope maybe some of the audience members will speak to this later. What, in your own sense, how do you think the question of corruption in sports, or in football in particular, has affected our fortune in football in Nigeria? And you can also talk maybe about some or any other African country you know before we come to any on the same subject.
So if I hear you correctly, you're talking about the impact of corruption on sporting development or football development in Nigeria, and maybe in some other African countries.
Well, yes.
Well, specifically in Nigeria, corruption is that ghost that everyone talks about, but we don't see. Just moves around. So officials will be telling you these are just allegations, and it's unfortunate. The easiest thing to know about
not to cut you, Shino. Maybe if you can help us also the nature, what it looks like, what areas are these things being felt, the nature of what people are talking about in terms of corruption.
I think basically there's been no accountability in terms of the money that comes into football in Nigeria. There's the sponsorship money, there's the grant from FIFA. FIFA always give FIFA forward money to countries yearly. It's gone to a tune of $1.6 million every year. And then if you qualify for the World Cup, there's the World Cup bonus that comes in terms of participation fee. Also, there are sponsors who come and sponsor the Nigerian Football Federation. There's been no accountability on how this money is spent, where does this money go to. All you hear about is the fact that these officials, and that's why in the last, I've been with the BBC since 2004. There's been no year that I don't write about corrupt stories concerning Nigerian Football Federation. Whether the coach is unpaid, the players are crying over unpaid bonuses, allowances, or they are being kicked out of hotels because the NFF have not really settled their bills to the hotel. That's why you see the NFF will tell you they're always cash strapped, but they are getting funding from FIFA. They are getting money from the government. Whenever Nigeria plays a qualifying, there's always money that comes in. So how does this problem start? We start hearing only when players are unpaid or when coaches are unpaid. That's when you hear that. But the money that was meant for this man, where has it gone to? Also, in terms of developmental, this money that FIFA gives them is not for you to go into your own private pocket. It's for you to develop football in your country. So before, it used to be the Go project where FIFA will give you money to go and do whatever you want to do under Seblata. Under Infantino, the money, you need to come to FIFA with a prepared program on how you want to, for instance, spend your $1.2 million for this year, for this allocation for this year. In Nigeria, they could not claim that money for 3 years because every time they send documents, this is from FIFA when I attended the FIFA Forward program in 2018 in South Africa, I was told by the FIFA officials that Nigeria could not defend the project they want to do because when you bring a project to FIFA, we do not want to see someone that is related to Oluwashina or someone that's related to Amel, who is in the federation. It has to come specifically for the project, and FIFA will be the ones to fund it. Nigeria used to collect the money. Now they don't collect the money, and there was a problem. So you're asking now, where does the money go to? No one knows because there's been no one. The NFF audits their own accounts, and they tell you we are clean. We are clean and all that. But of course, the government comes with allegations coming from the other party. You know, when I mean other party, there are people who don't. It's like a two-state party where you have someone who is in charge of this in a federation right now, and the opposition, someone who probably lost the case or someone who has interest in the position, making allegation of this money going missing. That's when you get the authorities investigating. Where is this money? Where has it gone to? And that's where you hear FIFA saying, hey, don't interfere with our boys. You cannot investigate. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. You cannot interfere in running our football, blah, blah, blah. So all of these things, no one knows because there's been no accountability. The money comes from FIFA. The money comes from the government. The money comes from the sponsors. Where does this money go to? Those are the cases. That's why you hear in Kenya, the FA president was locked up. He was released. In Sierra Leone, the woman, Aisha Johansson, was arrested and was released because of financial mess in terms of money being mismanaged. It's not just a Nigerian problem. it's they said where there is so much money, there will always be corruption. It's about who is chasing the money, who is following the money. You need to follow the money and see, you need to follow the trail of the money. In Nigeria, no one follows the trail. And when you can't investigate, you always have allegations. That's why I call it the ghost everyone talks about, because no one has gone to jail in Nigeria for mishandling or mismanaging football money. They'll be arrested, they'll be released, and then the case is forgotten. So we have across Africa the issue of corruption in football, but no one has been sent to jail for this particular incident.
Amir, your take?
Well, really, as Oluwashina was saying, that there is no authority that really traces how the money that is being handed to federations by FIFA or CAF or whatever is being managed and finally spent. Because if an African federation receives money from FIFA or CAF, nobody knows where this money is going. And when the government try to know who is doing what with this money, they say, no, this is governmental interference. And many federations in Africa are usually, I don't want to say occasionally, but actually usually, are usually suspended by FIFA because of governmental interference. So it's very tricky here, because there is no regulator in the middle to watch where the money is being taken to. Because, for example, if FIFA is paying a federation money for youth development, and we don't see training facilities, we still don't see grassroots project, we see nothing. And at the end of the day, you just say, we need more money, we need more money. And where has this money gone? Nobody knows. When people call for the government to go and investigate, they say, no, this is governmental interference. So it's very tricky. I mean, it's a very gray area. And that's why people in Africa they are going in a race to administrate football, because they know you will be in charge of huge amounts of money.
It's a goose that lays the golden egg.
Yeah, it's a huge amount of money and with no control. So that's why. So my call is that there has to be an authority or a regulator, an independent regulator, let us say, that really traces where the money has gone. And there is also a big question, because FIFA pays the federation and they don't follow up with the federations. What did you do with this money?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, guys. Maybe we'll have to call for that special committee that would review the money that goes into football or sports generally in Africa. There have been many embarrassing moments, particularly from Nigeria, whether at the World Cup or at the Olympics. But before we bring in, we have some of our experts, sports enthusiasts who are waiting. We'll bring them in soon. But let's quickly just do a run through of Africa's chances at the World Cup in terms of specifics now. And we have, maybe starting from Group A, quickly, just short comments. I know you've touched on some of these teams before, but so we start with Emil, then we'll go to Oluwashina. Group A, we have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands.
I believe
Senegal
Senegal are the best team in this group, even better than the Netherlands, better than host nations. So I think they are, if they really show more aggression in the pitch, because that's the only thing that is lacking Senegal, is to show more aggression, more desire, more spirit. If they can find that, they will top the group and qualify and maybe go as far as the quarterfinal.
Then the next group we have, where do we fit in again? We have Morocco. Oh no, Group D, Tunisia. So we'll finish with Amy, then we'll go to Oluwashina's take. So Amy, what do you, Group D, Tunisia, France, Denmark, and one of the last playoff between Australia, Peru, and Ecuador.
Yeah, mission impossible for the Carthage Eagles. I think it's they will need lots of luck that they had with Mali in the qualifiers, but this time with the world champions, with Denmark, who reached the semifinals at the Euros. Even if it's Peru or Australia, I'll find it still complicated for Tunisia. I don't see them making it.
Then Group F, we have Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia.
I think Morocco can clinch a spot out of the two. Croatia and Belgium both are very good teams, but they are now most of the players are past 30 and are past their best as well. So maybe Belgium will get top spot, and the second spot I think it will be between Canada, even Canada, because they did a magnificent qualification campaign. It will be between Canada, Croatia, and Morocco. And I have a slight advantage for Morocco because they gained the experience from their 2018 participation when they were knocked out from the group stage, even when they played very good football. But still, I think they will look for that sharp detail, just to know how to hold on results and to finish games.
And then the next group, Group G, Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, and Cameroon.
Yeah, actually, if Cameroon settles all the issues about player payments, administrations before boarding the plane, and I'm optimistic because Samuel Eto'o has witnessed this a lot when he was a player. So I think he will try to finish all of this business before boarding the plane. So if they do this, they will really have a possibility of qualifying alongside Brazil, because Switzerland is a good team, Serbia, of course, is a good team, but still Cameroon, if they finish these traditional problems, I believe they will have a very good chance of progressing.
And finally, Group H, Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, and South Korea.
So it's very interesting for Ghana actually to lock horns again with Uruguay after 12 years of the hand of Luis Suarez. Very exciting also to face Portugal again, because Portugal knocked out the Black Stars in 2014 in Brazil. So it's full of revenge, you know. But I believe the hunger in this Black Stars team can take them through. But it will be a very tough call. I mean, they are not the favorites. So being the underdogs will relieve them of the pressure.
All right, Shino, so your quick take on the groups that we mentioned, starting with Group A, Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, Netherlands.
Well, like Hamri said, Senegal have a good chance. The Africa top-ranked side, they are defending champions in Africa. They have a very good squad. We don't need to mention the players: Koulibaly, Ghana, Gay, Ismail Assar. I mean, they've got stars, and I think Senegal possibly have the strongest squad going into there. And then when you look at Netherlands, I mean, he's mentioned the Netherlands. They are not the strong side they used to be, but they have a very young squad that are really, really exciting to watch now. I think Senegal and Netherlands in that group. Qatar and Ecuador. Qatar, of course, they are the host nation. People will be watching them. But I think Senegal stand a good chance there. You know what I think of Tunisia in that their group already. I don't need to say. They were very, very lucky against Mali. I love Mali. They have a very young squad. Unfortunately, Tunisia ruled their luck in Bamako, where Senegal scored where Mali scored an own goal, and they also got a red card. So the first leg in Bamako helped Tunisia get here. I don't think they'll be that lucky at the World Cup. Countries don't easily make mistakes there. And when you look at about the team from the playoffs, we don't know who they will be. But Denmark in that group and defending champions France, I think the Qatar Eagles might be flying home early from the World Cup. Clearly, when you look at the opposition that they have there, and then we are talking group F with Morocco. Morocco too needs to sort out their mess. What is going to happen with Vaid? They want to take their big stars to the World Cup. Vaid does not want those players because he believes they are prima donnas. He doesn't want the people that will come and ruin what he's been trying to build. But then again, Morocco will be the big call. Hamri mentioned something about the organization of Morocco and what they've done. It's a very good country. They have everything, facilities, the best in Africa in terms of how they've spent FIFA's money. They built a youth academy, and they built a place for their team to camp. Don't be surprised if Morocco decide to camp at home rather than go and spend money elsewhere. So they have a very good organization. If they can sort out that coaching situation, they are facing Croatia and, of course, Belgium and Canada. Tricky group for Morocco. I think the Atlas Lions will need to punch above their weight to come out of that group. I don't know. Amri seems confident, but I think it will be very, very difficult for them because they are facing strong opposition in that team. And, of course, Cameroon. Rigobert Song has been to the World Cup and is the coach. He's played at the World Cup, 3 World Cups, I think. Samuel Eto'o, he's played at the World Cup, is the FA president of Fecafoot. So they know what to expect when they get to the World Cup. If they sort out all the mess, are you bringing Joel Matip or not? Are the players who are going to the World Cup will be happy for you to come and bring in players who were not part of the party? You don't need to ruin the spirit that you've built. So I think for Morocco and for Cameroon in that group, they'll meet Brazil. They've met them twice at World Cup, and they've lost twice to Brazil. So that tells you the women isn't looking good for the Indomitable Lions. But against Serbia and Switzerland, they'll fancy the opportunity. They don't finish second. They want to finish third best in that group. And finally, Ghana. Ghana didn't go to the last World Cup in 2018. They are building a young team, and expectations are high in Ghana now because they stopped Nigeria from going to the World Cup. Come to think about it, the Black Stars, they are 60th in the world ranking, and they will be the lowest ranked nation at the tournament. That tells the story that they are not really expected to do so well. But they are facing Uruguay, whom they know very well. Suarez will be coming again, and they said it's revenge mission for them. The IFA president has been talking. They also have South Korea in that group. And I think Portugal, a team they also know from the last tournament they played in 2014, I think Ghana will probably be looking to finish in a respectable position and go. And I think they can. If they don't finish in top two, they might really scrap one of those points to go third, one of the third best teams in the group.
All right, Rudolph.
Okay. So thank you, guys. We are going to now open up our forum so that other people can join the conversation if they have a question for you. We have about, let me see, how many minutes? 17 minutes left. 17. So joining us now is Eze. Eze, welcome to 90 Minutes Africa.
Thank you very much, Rudolph.
Okay. So
well,
please.
I was already accusing Dr. Chido for not giving me a quick notification of this interesting topic. Thank you, Shino. I met Shino years back when he was when Yomikuku was putting Search and Groom together, and I'm so proud of you the way you are moving. Please let me just quickly say I want to dwell on sports governance. And the interesting topic about it is corruption in sports, which is the work my organization have been doing for years now. And I must tell you, I think Shino and Ami did justice to some of those points. But I think there are other areas in which I want to touch on that affect you guys even as journalists. Over years, our friends in the media have downplayed what the role corruption has played as far as sports development or football development in Nigeria is concerned. This, I don't want to use vulgar words, but I'm always pushed to. But these guys in this so-called glass house, this charlatan, they squander all kinds of money. Shino failed to mention the fact that they even still get sponsorship money from corporate organizations. The only thing they know how to do best is to take a business class. Oh, okay, you did. Oh, I didn't hear that. The only thing they know how to do best is to take a business class ticket, fly down, or even charter plane, fly down to London and start looking for Nigerians with dual citizenship, leftovers from other countries who are not fit to be called into the national team of the country they pay allegiance to. All they know is to go to them and beg their parents to let them play for Nigeria. And that is the result of what we have seen in the qualification. We have been mentioning this from time immemorial, that these guys in the glass house are not fit to be there. Amaju Picnic has a case to answer with the EFCC up to tomorrow. The only thing he has done, he has succeeded in doing, was to go and hire a Festus Kiyamo, who is also from his own part of the country, probably is even a tribesman, to come and defend him now as a minister. And they use all manipulative purpose to make sure that he doesn't answer to that question. Even when the EFCC wanted to push further, he had to go to China to go and bring the son of the DG of the SSS, who is playing God knows what in China, to go and participate to be part of the national team in the under-17. You ask yourself, in what way whom have we offended in this country? The only thing that brings joy, that brings us together, they killed it. Now let us go to the local league. What has happened to the local league? Totally nothing. The companies in Nigeria, there are companies who dwell in Nigeria, who did or do all their businesses in Nigeria, paying huge amounts, millions of dollars. So DSTV, another foreign company, for us to go and watch Premiership and Champions League, Whereas money that are meant to develop, percentage that are meant to develop grassroots sport development in Nigeria were nowhere to be found. They took all this money, they squandered them together, they patronize each other. Now, what the NFF has done, what they succeeded in doing, was to go and bring a man in his private entity, a tribesman of Amaju Pinnick, one Bismarck, whatever, what is the name of his company, to be the financial whatever expert for the NFF, trying to write and rewrite books for NFF. Each year they come out with a healthy, what is it called? They come out with a bill, healthy bill of financial reports.
All right.
You know, coming out to tell us that this NFF is good, they don't have any financial issues in the country. Meanwhile, a lot of issues that borders on corruption going on. Amaju Pinnick has this in Ikoyi and other places. Nobody is asking questions. This guy has not done any job again before becoming the NFF president. Okay. All the money he has in his life. So please, Rudolph, I'm sorry to say if I go a little bit emotional, because children are dying. Yesterday, on Friday, a friend of mine with whom we went to secondary school together was a student at NIS in Surulere, a basketball coach, slumped and died. And this was a guy that before enrollment, they are so-called medical checkups. Nothing. Go to NIS in Surulere and see. At least we should cry out. A lot of violence we see here and there in this country is as a result of young people, able-bodied men, who are supposed to channel their energy in doing good things. They don't have anywhere to recreate. Now they want to direct it to violence and crime. And we just don't think, we can't think deeply. I was a coach. I was okay. Rudolph, I don't want to abuse the process though. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope we have another platform to talk.
Yeah, there will be. Oluwashina, you can answer some of the questions if you can.
Yeah, Eze speaks the mind of some of the frustrated and you know, people in Nigeria in terms of football and in terms of general concept. I wrote a piece where I said what you see on the pitch in Abuja, the reaction, the ugly incident that you witnessed there, is a spillover of the situation of things in the country. So football is the only uniting thing in a fragmental society in Nigeria. It's only football that the Igbo man and the Yoruba man will sit down and talk. It's the only time they put their political alliances to one side. And this industry, this thing called football, has a huge power to bring people together. We have huge division in Nigeria and all that. So the fact that the Eagles are not flying and the continuous allegations of corruption in the system and how young people are being selected. Some of the things you mentioned here, I'm aware of some of them. Allegations of, you know, using some top people to actually get themselves away from, you know, investigations and what have you, trying to dodge some of these things and all that. But like Eze is pointing out, you know that Amri and I have talked about the lack of people who are actually monitoring the money, authority who is investigating where the money goes to. When the government wants to investigate, it is called intervention, interference, and FIFA gets upset. When the fans and the media try to put their hands into some of these things going on by getting involved, by calling them out, they are said to be working for their opposition. When the government wants, so all of these things, FIFA protects these people because they also, remember, they owe the votes when it comes to FIFA election. So you need to make the boys happy so they can also get the FIFA man in charge of, to get his own votes as well. So we are talking of a corruption that is very huge, that just goes like this and you can never have an ending. The only way is that if there's a law in place and there's an authority investigating money that has gone missing, people should be made to pay dearly. Once people start paying, we will not see people wanting to come to the football where all the money is, and everyone will be rushing because you have to do a character check. You have to be sure to be healthy financially and you don't have corruption charges hanging above your head. Because here we are talking about the NFF president who has failed the nation, who prior to 2 days ago wanted to continue in the third term thing. I'm sure Amri is confused by a lot of these things that we are talking because this is Nigeria. But then again, this is Nigeria. And Eze, I'm sorry that you have to go through all of these, but we all get emotional when it comes to Nigeria. But until things are done properly in Nigeria, we will continue to cry and complain on platforms like this.
Amri, is it the same in Egypt? How is it? And how is FIFA also reacting to things like this? Does it happen in Europe too? I'm not aware, but if you can address some of those.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere in the continent. Maybe the scale is just a little bit different from here to there, but it's still the same. You find some people who run the football in Egypt or in Algeria or in Tunisia. They are always the same people. They just like exchange seats for one cycle and then come back again, and then during that cycle, even they are moving everything from behind the curtains. So. They're actually, I don't want to be very pessimistic to say that there is no hope actually, because every time we say, okay, here's the occasion just to change radically the organization of football in Egypt or whether any other North African country, we are dragged again to the same spot. So there are some people who are just running the game. They are controlling the clubs. They have some understandings with all the factors, with all the stakeholders. You can see the corruption not only with FIFA money. You can see the corruption with the TV deals for local competitions. You can see the corruption in youth sectors when sons of ex-players get promoted very quickly, while other players who are really talented, they have to go on loan and then prove themselves, and then the very same clubs, the very same original clubs, buy them again. So the corruption is all over. Actually, it's very dark here. You know, it's not only about the money, but hopefully, there is always hope. I mean, there is always hope, but it really needs a very strong will from the government to end up with this. Yes, government
Rudolph,
interference.
just to quickly come in.
Yeah,
sorry, just to quickly come in. These things happen in Europe too. Like you said, the scale is just different. I mean, some of the things that goes on in Europe when it comes to FIFA's money or what have you. But the difference is maybe someone is giving 1 million to do something. Something will happen to 200,000, but he will use 800,000 to do something. So eventually, they are investigating him for 200,000. In Africa, the money disappeared. We are talking about some of the facilities. When Steve Keshi was coach of Mali, the Mali Federation, they collected their money and built a football house for the Mali. Morocco has the same thing now. All of these countries are trying to do such things with the money that they get from FIFA. We don't get to see that in Nigeria. We don't get to see that in Ghana. We don't get to see that in Benin, Togo, and all of these places. So this problem is a football problem. It's not just an African problem. It's just that the scale at which people steal money is different. Sorry, Amrit, for stepping in there.
Rudolph, I just wanted to mention one incident to you. Let me mention one incident. Do you know one Salisu Yusuf? This man was caught on camera, receiving bribe to field in a player. Do you know the consequence of all these things?
What happened?
A palm behind his back, of his hand, and he was let go after 2 years or thereabout. He is now, or he was, probably he still is, the coach, the assistant coach that played the last qualification. This was a man caught on camera, stealing money, collecting money for bribe. Now you ask me, the lives of those boys whom he has jeopardized, what do you think?
Okay, Eze, we have less than 4 minutes
of their life. That is one. The second question is, you now see the mediocrity in the people playing for us at the national team. They are not qualified. They are the coaches. You
All right. Eze, thank you
Usually,
so
and
much.
twist themselves, and they are twist each other.
Thank you so much. We have to round up. Oluwashina, let me now put it in the wider
So
perspective.
you can see the level of corruption of my brother.
All right. Thank
It's
you.
so
Thank you.
huge.
Thank you, Eze. Thank you so much. So, Oluwashina, we go from you and then we round up. I think what I'm getting from Eze is that the corruption, we agree, is everywhere. Is it possible for FIFA or anybody to expect that the African sports or football will be different from African politics in terms of the dynamics, what's going on there? Is it possible? Can we isolate African football from what is happening in African politics? Because it seems to me like it's the same thing everywhere.
It's the same thing. The color of the ball is just different. It's the same. In FIFA, you see that people have interest in who becomes the federation president in Africa, so they have a say. Literally, we all talk about FIFA now being CAF now being an extension and satellite of CAF, or like the CAF, that's the ruling body in Africa. They have FIFA dictating. The president is unpicked. The other one for in charge of Secretary General is unpicked by FIFA. So FIFA are also controlling who becomes the FA president in this country. So you're talking about the same interest that you have. Should France want a president in Mali, they will only back the ones that they are in love with. Should it's the same. It's all the same. The only difference is that in football, the puppet master is in Zurich. When it comes to the general politics, the biggest boys are all over in the Western world. So it's a very difficult thing. And unfortunately, fans like myself, Amri, journalists like ourselves, and of course, someone like a stakeholder like Asia as well, will continue to cry. But I don't want to be pessimistic. I think the only way out is as soon as there is a punishment for thieves. I don't want to glorify them by calling them officials. Thieves, anyone found guilty of stealing money, as soon as there's a punishment, a severe punishment, the same way you get when you commit crime elsewhere, as soon as there is that in our football in Africa, I think some of these rogues who paraded themselves as federation presidents or ambitious football leaders would run away from football because they know there will be punishment for corruption.
Okay, thank you so much, Emery. What's your final take?
Yeah, final take. I don't want to look very pessimistic, but as I'm saying, it needs a radical change. The game in the world, in the whole world, needs radical change. You cannot just speak about Africa, and the same things happen in CONCACAF, in CONMEBOL, and even in UEFA. So there is a need for a radical change in FIFA itself.
All right. Thank you so much. Chido, can you conclude?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys. We just have a question about Sierra Leone saying FIFA just they don't have a proper playing pitch, and as a result, the national team has to play its qualifiers outside Sierra Leone. We just want to thank you all. This is has to be something that would revisit as we head in to Qatar 2022. We hope we can call on you guys next time to dissect the issues, and if there are other problems that are on the way, we'll be happy to talk about them. We just want to thank you for taking out your time to being part of this. We really do appreciate, and those who tuned in, I think it's been an illuminating 90 minutes. Please follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, Instagram on 90 Minutes Africa. We'll be off next week for the Easter celebration, but we'll see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much, and all the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.